Welcome to our F3 podcast, where we discuss all things that are pertaining to faith, family, and finances. We are your host today. I am Dr. Lionel M. Blair Sr., and I'm sitting next to one of God's perfect gifts.
Oh, honey.
Glory to God. God's perfect gift to my life and to the world. Amen. She perfect
Oh,
wife,
Lord.
perfect in all her ways, like Jesus. Amen. My wife, Dr. Jasmine Blair. And as usual, we always got a good one for you today.
Yes, indeed. Welcome, everybody, to the F3 podcast. Shout out to all of our first time viewers and listeners. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time we premiere a new episode. And for our audio listeners, go ahead and subscribe on your mobile device. And every time we release a new episode, it will automatically download for you. Be sure to check out the links in the description and the show notes to find out how you can support our podcast
Yes.
as well as our other products and services. And definitely leave us a message if you've got a show topic, if you got a question you want us to answer here on live. Click that link and you can leave us an audio message, and who knows, your topic might be on the next episode.
Come on.
So we're going to dig into this topic today, and we're going to talk about keeping your relatives out of your marriage. And we've touched on the marriage piece a few times. We've touched on the family piece a few times, but this is a really good one.
Yes.
We've counseled several couples over the years, and there have been several relationships that have either been crippled or destroyed by the input of negative family members, people who are unhappy themselves, unsuccessful in marriage themselves.
Come on.
Still divided themselves,
Come
don't
on.
know how to be in unity themselves,
Come
don't
on.
know how to pray themselves out of a wet paper bag themselves, but yet they have so much opinion to sow into what God has told you. So we're going to talk about that today and kind of sort through some of the dynamics and give you guys some healthy, biblical, and necessary insight on what to do in these situations.
Yeah, most couples that we have counseled, all right. One of the main issues is relatives' input.
Whether it's parents, in-laws, aunts and uncles, grandparents, or adult children.
Yeah, all of that. All of that, but mainly from the most, I would say the most common one may be parents / in-laws and adult children.
Absolutely.
And adult children. And you got to realize, like, when you get married, if you're going to have a biblical marriage or a godly marriage, okay, you have to put your spouse first. Okay. Some people still have not left and cleaved yet. So the Bible says to leave and cleave.
They thought they leave. It says leave and cleave, but they're still deceived.
Yeah.
They didn't get the memo.
Yeah. And listen, it's okay to love mama, daddy, grandmama, your grown children, grandchildren. I've heard of grandchildren, okay, getting in the way. But they do not come before your spouse. I know this is not a popular topic.
No.
And there's been this argument, if the table's set, who gets the first plate, your children or the husband?
Oh, I'm so tired.
That is the dumbest argument. Okay. If I'm sitting at a table, okay, and which my wife don't do this to me, but I'm just saying, ain't nobody getting a plate before me.
And if we want a date night, we're going to feed the kids first to get them out the way.
Yeah, that's different.
It depends.
That's different. But if we all sit at the table, no. The kids need to see order. The kids need to see how the order goes.
Order, love, respect, honor.
Yes. It's not like the kids, I ain't going to eat.
We all gonna eat it. We gonna say grace and eat at the same time.
It is biblical to put your spouse, and I know this ain't popular either. It is biblical to put your spouse before your children.
Yes.
Now that don't mean you neglect your children,
right?
Because they are still your responsibility. Okay, but the first order is the spouse, then the kids.
Right.
I love my wife. I love my children, but they don't come before my wife.
And vice versa.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So and as a father, I take care of my kids. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that we have to get the order back right first and then deal with it from there. But your marital unit have to be solid 1st, and you have to have this understanding, like, hey, I'm not going to put anybody before you.
Yes,
I'm not going to put no matter who I talk to, no matter who I deal with, whether it's at the job or it's at the ministry or whatever, they don't come before you. Okay, and see, yeah, you gotta set that strong structure and foundation in place, because if not, then grandmama gonna be slipping in there, granddaddy, okay, your grown children, okay, gonna be slipping up in there. Next thing you know, you got a house full of grown children and grandchildren. Okay, and then that may not be what the other spouse want. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so yeah, you know, we've encountered all kinds of stories about people who cannot let their grown children go. You know, I've heard of husbands, you know, like stepfathers and stuff, you know, putting their stepsons out. Stepsons grown. But
20s, 30s, 40s.
Yeah, I've seen marriages end because the mother will not release the reins over her grown adult children, and the husband got tired of it. I've seen marriages end like that because it's just like, okay, I'm the husband until they get involved, and then now you moving your sorry sons in and out the house. No. Let them boys get out there and let life beat them up. Okay, especially they going out there still making babies irresponsibly, and then you feel obligated as the mother, and then now as a grandmother, you babysitting too, but the man would probably want to spend some time with you. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to recognize you not prioritizing your marriage can ruin your marriage.
Absolutely.
And some people say, well, I've heard of incidents where people move relatives in the house, like a brother or a sister, right? And the spouse had a problem with it. You know, it was a husband and wife couple years ago. You know, I heard of doing this. You know, the husband moved the brother in. The wife didn't want him there. And, you know, we discussed it. They had a discussion days before, and she said, I do not want your brother here. Period. And she had good reasons for it. So anyway, next thing you know, he moving his stuff in here. And she said, I thought I told you. Where's my brother? What? What? Like, what is this? You know, people think because, you know, I'm doing something nice for my family that's noble. And that's what I'm supposed to do. But biblically, you're supposed to put your immediate household, and within that, your spouse first and your kids over everything else.
That's right.
Over everything else. You understand? So, you know, a lot of what we call right and wrong, God don't call it that.
That's good. And there's a lot that you said there that I want to unpack. We've got to look at, first and foremost, I want to go back to what you said about the order. Now, that right there is a cuss word to a lot of people. And I've noticed typically women struggle with this. Okay, well, what about my kids? And I got to do for my kids. Yes. And and you see this multiple times, but you often see this with blended families, whether the children are grown, whether the children are younger. Your husband still comes first.
Yes.
You cannot prioritize your children over your husband. You just cannot. Because when the children are grown and they have, which they should depart, when it's time for them to leave and cleave, you will be with your husband.
Right. Hopefully.
That is the relationship that you have to prioritize.
Right.
Because if your marriage is the safety unit in which those children thrive.
Right.
So if there is no bonding, if there's no cleaving, if that safety and security has not been created, there's nowhere for the children to thrive. And then what happens is you perpetuate the cycle of them growing up and being dysfunctional because they never had the right example before them. You begin to cause in their own eyes for them to always see you doing for them, you doing for them, you doing for them. And what happens is it does not teach your sons how to be a husband, a father, and grow up and take on that male responsibility. And it does not teach your daughters, should they choose to want to get married and have a married life, how to be a wife, how to work alongside a husband, how to submit, how to run a house, and how to work together and yield those reins. Because they've seen you holding the reins all the time. They grow up and repeat that cycle. I got to hold the reins all the time. And we often think, well, I can explain it. I can talk to them. But children are so impressionable by what you do, not by what you say. You can tell them, teach them, explain all day long. But at the end of the day, they're going to look at what you do, your behavior, and that's what they're going to model. That's what they're going to model. So it's best to begin to shift. You've got to, and sometimes it's just a muscle memory. And I think the longer that you have been in a situation where you are a single mother, you've been running the house and handling everything on your own, the harder it is to make that shift. If you've been doing this thing 10, 15 years, 20 years, listen, God bless you, more power to you. And I thank God for you and the strength that you have had and the faith and trust that you've had in God to even get this far with it.
Right.
But if God is releasing you to be married, and now you are married, you've got to make sure you finish that cleaving transition to where you allow him to lead.
Yeah.
You've got to allow him to lead. You've got to allow him to be able to rule in that sphere and to be able to conduct on behalf of the instructions that God has given him in that sphere without you complaining because, well, what about my kids this or what about my kids that?
I want to interject right there for a second because you said you have to allow him to lead. Fellas, husbands, it is your responsibility to provide safety for your family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it is your responsibility, and if your family don't feel safe because of something or someone, then guess what? It is your responsibility to make them feel secure.
That's right.
Okay, I'm not going to bring some crazy person in my house. I'm not going to do it. I'm only going to bring people in my house that honor me and my family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm not just talking about with lip service either. Some of y'all got some parents right now that dishonor your spouse.
Come on.
And you still bring them around. You still do stuff for them and all this other stuff. You're in sin. You're in sin. So you want the wife to submit, but you don't love the wife like Christ loved the church.
That part.
All right. Because it is our responsibility to love our wives like Christ loved the church, right? And what the Bible says, he laid down his life for the church.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you got to let that relationship with mama die. I ain't saying never talk to her again. Said that the relationship with daddy die. I ain't saying don't ever talk to him again. The Bible says you have to honor them. But you can honor from a distance.
That's right.
You can honor from a distance. Okay? Because if any relative, I've cut relatives off completely. I had a cousin who I love try to cuss my wife out one day. I blocked her.
Never met him, by the way.
Never met her. But she will be forever blocked. You hear me? She will be forever blocked. Unless she sent me an email or something apologizing to me and my wife. Okay. All right. And the thing about it was a disagreement. I forgot what it was. It was like a disagreement online. And my wife, out of niceness and kindness.
I was talking to somebody else, wasn't even talking to her.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, I remember what you did.
Yeah.
Because she was my cousin and out of niceness and kindness, okay, now she would have reacted a little bit different than I would have. Okay. Was like, hey, let's just get on the phone and let's just get an understanding. Right. She don't want no trouble with my family, you know. But then the lady got up there, my cousin got up there and, started being disrespectful. My wife is still a woman of God. Okay, she's still a leader. You understand? And then proceeded to cuss her out. So my wife hung up on her, rightfully so. Rightfully so. And now this woman is forever blocked. Okay. No. No. I can run time we first got married. Her relatives start coming at her. You want to know what I did? I put them in their place.
Mm-hmm.
I checked them. Start commenting all on my videos and stuff. No. Why? Because even if it's her family, and I don't care who feels some type of way about it. I don't care. Even if it's her family, okay, I'm gonna put you in place.
That's it.
Even if it's her family. So if I do it for her family, what you think I'm gonna do for mine? See, husbands, it is your responsibility to protect the interests of God for your family and to protect your wife. Even if she is not sure about who to bring around, you should have enough discernment and understanding to know who not to bring around. Because you are the senior protector of your house.
That's right.
Listen. I can have a 20-bedroom mansion and certain people I would never bring around. Certain people, if they was in need, they could not come because I know they're not going to be good for my wife and children. I'm talking about relatives. Well, you supposed to help those in need? Maybe I'll take you to a shelter. I know some people that's hired. Okay.
Come on now.
I know people that can probably help you. Or we can help you get your business in order, but you ain't coming to live with me.
Nope. No.
You ain't coming to live with me. When you got room, just because I got room don't mean I got room.
Say that one more time.
Just because I got room don't mean I got room for you. But see, we feel obligated to let people in our space because they have a need. You understand? You ain't God. You ain't supposed to provide for everybody's needs. Just like Jesus said, the poor will always be among you. The needy will always be among you.
They sure will.
You can't meet everybody's needs.
No.
Because you're responsible to secure a God's legacy for your family. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm only going to bring people around us that's going to help us secure that. Okay. Well, what if your granddaddy gets sick? Baby, they got in-home nurses. They got nursing homes. They got good ones. They got some crooked ones, but they got some good ones. You stay on top of them nurses, they'll do their job. I'm just saying. Some people want to bring them in, and it's just like, some people, they can do that. Some people, they can do that, but some people, they cannot.
Exactly.
I don't care if I got a 20-bedroom.
And some people just don't want to. Can we go there?
Yeah.
Some people just don't want to, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
They don't owe you an explanation. And I think that's the other thing. I want to shift this a little bit because you've kept it on the lighter end of, just the order of the home.
Yes.
And things like that. But what about when people start disagreeing with your decisions when it comes to obeying God?
Come on.
People disagree with where you're going to church at. People disagree with the type of business you have or what you want to pursue, the type of education you want to pursue. You have to keep family out of these things because don't you know that all it takes is one or two negative voices to speak in your ear, and now you're questioning what you know God told you.
Come on.
Whether it's a prophetic dream, whether it's a word, a confirmation that came through prayer, y'all gonna do that? Well, and this is what people say. This is an example. Well, I don't know. I know the God I serve. Okay.
What God? What God do you serve?
Who? Just because nobody gave you the instructions doesn't mean, and you always find it's the saved relatives that tend to be the worst ones sometimes.
Them the ones I don't listen to.
You cannot allow people's voice and opinion to navigate what God is giving you all instructions for. So you've got to keep them out of it because they may not understand. They don't agree. They have an opinion about it. They have something that they want to say. And for some people, that has caused them to prematurely in relationships, to shift ministries, to not pursue the things that they should pursue, or to pursue other things that they shouldn't be pursuing by listening to family. Doesn't mean that everybody is off, but a lot of times if people are not really in a place where they're hearing from God and their track record shows that they're hearing from God in their own life, that's not the relatives that you want to listen to. And then, oh my God, some people make the mistake of venting to your relatives, and now they will always see your spouse through the eyes of whatever it is that you have vented or said. Y'all done moved on, repented, and moved forward, and they still look at them. I remember when they this. I remember when they didn't do that. Family is so critical. So you have to be very, very wise. It's best for you not listen. I don't care if they're pastors. I don't care if they're preachers. I don't care if they're therapists or counselors. Go to somebody else. Go to somebody else. Because the reality is anybody, let's say you legitimately have a need. Anybody who is a relative will always be biased to you. Mm-hmm. Let me say that again. Anybody who is a relative will always be biased to you. And if you're sincerely in a place where you need help, you want to go to somebody that's neutral. The worst thing you can do is put your spouse in a place where they feel re-victimized because maybe you have said or done something that damaged them. And now you're sitting here receiving counseling from a relative that's just furthering your agenda and causing more damage to them, instead of being humble enough to go to somebody neutral that does not know either one of you, that will love you both enough to tell you the truth from a balanced perspective.
Right.
That is the worst thing you can do in your time of need, is go to somebody that is related to either one of you, because they're going to side with whoever their relative is. You don't want to do that. Seeking true help requires you to go outside of the familiar. And that's how you know you're really getting a real prophetic insight. Somebody that don't know either one of y'all.
Right.
That doesn't know the history, don't know the background. They're not biased. They could care less as far as whose side to take. But they're really listening and giving you counsel from the voice of God. But we've got to shift to this place. You've got to be okay without your family being in stuff. You've got to be okay with letting your grown sons and your grown daughters go on.
Come on.
I mean, we knew this one couple. I mean, they were pretty much at odds. He said, I'm tired of these grown men sitting around with no job. I'm paying all the bills. They're disrespecting me in my house, and they're not contributing a dime to any of the expenses that they're making. So if they're not going to do right, they can go on. Well, those are my sons. You can't put them out. Why not?
Yeah, for real.
Why he can't even lead in his home? Because these grown men are challenging him.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to do their part and even contribute. It's not like, okay, they're grown, but y'all are doing a family thing, all working together, all building together.
Right.
That's different, but that's not the case. And even then, they will still have to respect his headship.
Yeah.
So what are we doing here? Why are we allowing this type of stuff? The first and foremost, the church has gone soft on these types of issues.
Oh my God. Yeah.
The church has gone soft, in an effort not to be offensive. We very rarely talk about submission, the structure of the home, the structure of the family.
Yeah.
And, I even remember in my early years coming up, before I was married, and I would speak to some of the older women at the ministry I was at the time, and asking about submission, because these were things I wanted to learn.
Right.
Oh, well, you don't need to, I can't say a whole lot about that. And it's because they weren't living it. You don't need to worry about that. Well, why not?
If I want to get married.
If I don't need to wait till I'm married and I'm fumbling along when I have the opportunity to learn now. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's because they weren't living it.
Well, there's a lot of stuff we had to learn the hard way.
But the reality of it is people have to shift in the church.
They do.
And especially those of you that are leaders, you're elders, you're in positions of influence. You have to get to a place where you're willing to line up. If you find that you're being approached for things that you're not really sure about in yourself, that means, hello, it's a light bulb. It's time for you to fix some things.
Yeah.
But we've got to go back to teaching this in the church.
We do.
It's not popular, but it's necessary and it's simple.
We do. Oh my!
And we'll have to end up doing a whole part 1 and 2 on submission because we don't really have time to break all of that down today.
Right.
But in short, submission is not designed to control you.
Right.
It's really designed to protect you, to lift you up, and to help cultivate you to have the best that God has placed into you shine forward. And if that's not your understanding of submission, you got a bad definition and a bad instruction from it. And men, if this is not your idea of what it looks like with your wife submitting to you, then you have a tyrannical dictator view of what submission is supposed to be. Yeah. And you need to go back to the drawing board as well.
Sure do.
So, but back to the topic, keeping your relatives out of your marriage. They don't need the ins and outs. And this goes into our other episode of should I go to the family? Am I wrong for not going to the family event? Am I wrong for not wanting to go to the cookout or the reunion, graduation party? Because it's in a lot of these settings that people ask questions about things that you do and they start questioning it. And then that's how the gossip kind of spreads around the family. But the reality of it is how you raise your children isn't their business. As long as you're not abusing them or doing anything like that, it's not their business.
You ain't breaking the law.
They may not be fond of what you choose to feed your children or what you don't choose to feed your children. Mm-hmm. People looked at us like we were crazy because we're like, we don't give our kids cake. They don't need cake like that. Well, they don't get cake and ice cream for their birthday. No, they get muffins and some fruit, some watermelon, strawberries, something. Yeah. They might get smoothies or something, but no, we don't give them candy. We don't give them all of this unnecessary sugar that they don't need.
And we don't give them a bunch of processed food. We get our food from specific places.
Well, they can't have a childhood because they're not eating a bunch of candy that they don't need. So, those are just some examples. Everybody's not going to understand why you do some of the things you do. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. And that's why you just got to keep them just stay right on over there.
Homeschool those kids.
Right over there.
You homeschool those kids. What they need what about their socialization? He got friends. Matter of fact, he got friends he play with and talk to every day.
Well, what are they learning? Are they going to learn anything? I'm not sure that I have plenty of degrees that you don't even need to homeschool. They're fine. Right. So it's just things like that. People don't understand. Those that have an ear will hear, and those that have an eye will see. But for the rest, just tell them, just let it breathe. Just leave it alone. We're gonna talk about something else.
Yeah, you gotta put them in their place.
And if they refuse, you just have to love them with a long handled spoon from a distance.
Mind thine own business.
Because you do not need their validation for what God is doing. And for a lot of you that are out here listening, as a couple in obedience to God, and you're living your life according to God, y'all have call and destiny and purpose on your life. You have assignment on your life. God is going to take you a peculiar path that's not going to be typical for your relatives. And in fact, I dare say most of you, the path that he's going to take you on, your relatives are not walking anywhere near that to even speak to it and advise you anyway.
Yeah.
They're not walking on a path to be able to speak and advise you on trusting God and stepping out on faith and the types of moves and shifts that you're going to have to go on that many will not understand.
I remember, that reminds me, I had one relative tell me one time, I ain't going to say which one, I know more than you. And I'm just like, you may know more in life.
Okay.
Because you live longer.
Would you like the cookie or the cake that you said I should give my kids?
Maybe, but you don't know more than me concerning this walk that I'm walking. Okay. So while you may know more than me because you in the upper ages, you don't know this.
Right.
You haven't in all your life, you haven't seen the things that I've seen in a little bit of time I've been living.
Mm-hmm.
Bless God. But we ain't gonna talk about that. So you just got to when it comes to you and your family, you have your own individual walk.
Mm-hmm.
You got your own individual walk, your own individual structure. You have to go by the convictions of your heart, the convictions that God put in you. You know, and it may not be because I know for sure we don't. People in our families probably think we weird.
Mm-hmm.
They probably think we weird, and okay, that's okay. You don't got to be around me. You know, I will not lose 1 ounce of sleep.
No,
if you never talk to me again. You know, and I got some relatives that have cut me off, and I'm not losing. I got aunts that didn't cut me off. Listen. I'm not gonna lose a bit of sleep, baby. I love you, but I can love you from a distance. I pray you go to heaven at the end of your life. How about that?
That's right.
I don't. That's all I got to do is pray for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know. I got cousins. Cousins don't like me. Aunts that cut me off. Cousins don't like me. God bless you. Bless you, because it's not affecting my money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not affecting my money. Okay, my kids are healthy, my family's healthy. I'm in the best place I've ever been in my life. God, if you cut me off, produce this, then keep me cut off.
That part.
Come on, because I could only imagine what it would be like if you was in my life.
Mm.
Can you imagine what it was be like if my kids knew you, what kind of kids I would have?
Mm.
You understand? So yeah, God bless you. God bless. And see, this is the same attitude y'all need to have about family.
That's right.
For real. And listen, we're not anti-family, but we deal with the nitty-gritty, ugly side of family.
Right.
Listen, you don't know how many people. The reason why we do shows like this is because you don't know how many people we counsel with these family issues. People sweep stuff under the rug, or people end up losing good relationships, good marriages, good spouses.
Right.
You end up losing good people because you can't keep mama out your ear.
Listen, and if you one of these relatives listening, go ahead and just back up and pray. If nobody's being abused, if nobody's addicted to any types of substances, or there's no neglect or child abuse, physical abuse, anything like that, stay out of it. Stay out of it. Pray for them, give it over to God, recommend some therapy or counseling. But sometimes you need to let them work their issues out. And if there's no type of abuse or addiction or infidelity or abandonment or anything crazy like that, pray for them and let them work it out, and stop lending your ear to it. You can be a help that way. Listen, I understand you're venting, you're frustrated. You probably need to talk to a counselor about this.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this and you're in ministry, not saying that you're not skilled, but let them go somewhere else. You shouldn't be because you're by default biased. If that's your child or your niece or your cousin or your sister, you're already too biased by default to give the counsel, even if you know the right counsel. And especially if there's a heated situation, it's not going to be diffused by you. Oh, look at him. I mean, that's your uncle. Look at him. That's your dad. Look at her. That's your stepmama. No, just go ahead and refer them to somebody else. Yeah. You can know the right thing to say, but not be the one qualified to say it because you're the one that's related. It's okay to refer them to somebody else. It has nothing to do with your skill. It's wisdom that says, okay, I'm already personally invested. This is my son, my daughter, my niece, my nephew. I'm going to just refer y'all to somebody else. And we can stop a lot of this by just stop lending our ear to stuff. Ask them questions. Is it abuse? Is it some type of addiction? Is there any type of neglect going on with the children? Any type of infidelity? If it's not anything major like that, that's okay, you need to run for your life situation, leave it alone. Just leave it alone. It's that simple. It's that simple because see, a lot of people, maybe somebody vented to the family, they heard some stuff, and now that season has passed, but they're still judging that spouse based on that last season. Yeah. Y'all don't know how to let stuff go. And that's the problem. They have forgiven, moved on, they're in a better season, and you're still mad over what your niece's spouse did 10 years ago. That's exhausting to even word and get out and say like that.
It is.
But that's what happens? And that's why it's best just to keep family out. Let them say, we're doing good, we're blessed. That's all they need. Somebody, well, I don't want to. No, you're not lying. There's a difference between lying and protecting your peace. Not telling you something is not lying. You're just not releasing the information.
Right.
You're not releasing the information to deceive anybody. You're just not telling them because it's not their business. We're fine. We're blessed. They don't need any more than that. Don't feel bad. And listen, if you're listening to this and that makes you uncomfortable, you do not have healthy boundaries in place. And as a child and as a young adult, you were probably manipulated into giving more information than you were comfortable with. And that's why you feel nervous and scared and anxious about even just saying we're fine. If you feel like you're lying by saying that, you trust me, you have a manipulator somewhere in your family and you've always been manipulated to give too much information.
Yeah.
And they wanted that information for control. You're not lying to them by not telling them all of your business. You're just not telling them all of your business.
Come on.
And when you have healthy boundaries in place, you know the difference between the two and you're okay with enforcing that. If you want every little detail, you need to, relatives, ask yourself why. You don't live there. You're not lending any type of support or help to get them from where they are to where they're going. Why do you need to know everything? Why do you have to say something about everything? Because you are living vicariously through them. And I pray that you get healing and deliverance and the counseling and therapy that you need to move forward so you don't feel so entitled to somebody else's life. That just doesn't make any sense. Any closing remarks you have for the people on this today? Any closing statements?
Keep your relatives out your marriage. And you probably need to surround yourself with a couple of married couple friends.
You hit the Baptist preacher. I thought you was going Martin Luther King Jr. on me with that
Keep turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, keep keep your relatives out your marriage.
Come on.
If you want to still have a marriage, then keep.
Go ahead, Pastor. Go ahead.
Keep.
Go ahead, Pastor.
Say keep.
You
turn it up and say
good.
keep.
Come on, Pastor.
Keep.
Woo!
Keep.
Hallelujah.
Keep.
Hallelujah.
Keep. I don't preach like that at all. Okay. Woohoo. Shabba-ba-ba. Keep.
Go ahead, Pastor. Go ahead, Pastor.
Turn to your. Oh, let me stop. Man, keep the people out your business and get some married couple friends. Okay, try to develop those relationships.
Yes.
You know, sit around the round table, have marital discussions because see, you know, healthy marriages. When you have healthy marital friendships, those are people that can help you navigate through stuff. Y'all can help each other. Iron sharpens iron. You know, and then you need somebody every once in a while if your spouse act up. Okay, outside of the pastor. Bless the Lord. And sometimes outside of spiritual parents and stuff like that, just to have those good iron sharpen iron relationships. So if possible, develop some relationships, some marital relationships outside of yourself. Okay. And no, it don't need to be your mama and daddy, your married mama and daddy. You don't need to be going out on double dates with them all the time.
No.
All right.
Maybe for their little anniversary.
Yeah, for the anniversary.
Or their birthday
take
or something. But
take them out, but that And I'm not saying you can't learn anything from them, but see, you got to recognize when somebody has an unhealthy hand in your marriage, and you would not believe how many people we've counseled like that. And for some reason people can't let mom and daddy go. Daddy don't like the wife. You see what I'm saying? Mama got a grip on the son. To where the wife's voice is muffled. You know how many times I've seen this play over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. Daddy don't like the wife. Why? Because you can no longer manipulate. The wife cuts the manipulation off.
That's what that is.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother episode.
We'll
save that. But listen, thank you everybody for joining us again. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share, and hit that notification bell. Check the links out for how you can support the podcast as well as some of our other products and services that we have going on. Leave us a message. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what kind of questions that you have. I'm gonna drop the link in the description, so be sure to click that link. Until next time, goodbye.
Turn to your neighbor. Bye, y'all.